What up, folks? This is Pop Culture. I'm Alex Pop, and there's a fair amount of new details on Jurassic World Dominion that I'm pretty late on covering, but I need to because in the last 3 weeks, we've gotten quite a bit of news to be excited about. Some of these come in the form of set photos and videos drawn from TikTok that have been shared by none other than Brysonator100 of Jurassic World fandom. Certainly the guy you want to follow if you want to get every little detail of what we know so far about this movie. This just in, I actually just found out about this before getting on camera. We've gotten some photos of boats being used in the movie that are on the Malta set. So I think that's a good indication that we can expect to see 1 or 2 confrontations with the Mosasaurus in the ocean. This is somewhat curious because a few weeks before production began, shortly before they started filming in Vancouver back in February, there was a casting call for extras to play millworkers and fishermen, which may indicate that they're filming Mosasaurus scenes that are set in different locations. Fun fact, I actually responded to that casting call, but after I filled out all my information and sent in my application, only then did the website let me know, sorry, this is only for Canadian citizens. I mean, really? Come on, I'm just a 3-hour drive away. Now, we've also gotten a few more photos from Pinewood Studios, most of which are just rear views of the sets that we've already seen. However, in the most interesting one in my opinion, we see the remains of a Royal Navy chopper. This tells us 2 things. One, that this movie is not just being filmed in England, but some of it is even going to take place in England. And second, it lends some validity to one of my past rebuttals of common criticisms against Fallen Kingdom, that taking out all the dinosaurs is not going to be as easy for the military as a lot of critics of Fallen Kingdom think. And that criticism against Fallen Kingdom I find to be one of the funniest, as we're talking about a franchise that is all about the hubris of man, thinking that he can easily control nature.
Ironic.
Anyway, let's go back to Malta to discuss the biggest thing that everyone has been talking about recently. We've gotten a close-up of a maquette of an orange carnivore of some kind, and a separate image of that same maquette, as well as an albino one. These are designed to give the actors something to respond to. They may not be identical to the CGI counterparts that we'll see in the movie, but there's still been a lot of questions of what kind of dinosaur they represent. Looking closely at the dinosaur head, we see what may be just skin hanging from the chin, but it does appear to be some feathers, which has led many to believe that this is the Pyroraptor that the leaks talked about, and has been likely confirmed by the upcoming toy line. And if they are correct, and if those few feathers are a good indication of the amount of feathers the dinosaur will have, I think we'll have a pretty good design. Although I'm still skeptical, because I would expect that the Pyroraptor would be closer to the version of the creature that we see in Jurassic World Alive, and it lacks that animal's pointier snout. But again, those maquettes may not be identical to what we see in the movie. Now, the rounder shape of the head has led some to believe that these might be Herrerasaurus, and if so, I would be excited about that. Herrerasaurus is one of the dinosaurs that I've been wanting to see that hasn't yet made an appearance. And we've gotten a few cool TikTok videos shot by residents of Malta, most of which are of Chris Pratt's stunt double on a motorcycle. One of these has a motorcyclist cameraman following him, and the other with a camera on a drone getting an aerial shot. Plus, we've gotten a short video showcasing some vehicular mayhem in the streets. This may be caused by the supposed Pyroraptor or Herrerasaurus, or maybe even by a large sauropod like Apatosaurus or Dreadnoughtus walking through the road. You may be asking if this contradicts what Colin Trevorrow said, that the movie will not feature dinosaurs attacking cities, and I would say, not necessarily. These could just be dinosaurs that are being shipped somewhere by biosyn workers, meaning that they've simply broken out, and they've got nowhere else to go, much like the buck T-Rex at the end of The Lost World. So we know that they're filming the first unit footage in Pinewood and the second unit footage in Malta simultaneously, but it's still unclear exactly how the Pinewood footage will be merged with the Malta footage. I've been told by another Twitter user that they have sets at Pinewood that are made to resemble Malta, and while I don't know this for a fact, I think the image that we saw of the animatronic Compsognathus might have been on one of them. I certainly hope this is true. I imagine there will be some use of green screen, like for close-ups of the real Chris Pratt on his motorcycle, but that cannot be the majority of it. So that's really the one thing right now that I'm still wary about. Now on to a bit more recent news. Jeff Goldblum has had a number of interviews talking about his work on the movie. He said that he has been filming with Sam Neill and Laura Dern, and will be until the end of October. And one certain scene that Jeff Goldblum vaguely described sounds very appealing. It features all three of the OG characters. We were acting in a life and death situation. We think it might be the last moments of our lives, and we're all bonding with each other in an emotional and somewhat hilarious way. This tells us that Malcolm will be sharing the screen with Grant and Sattler for longer than I had previously thought, though I still don't see them all being together from the get-go. I think Grant and Sattler will be on the main adventure with Claire and Owen for the majority of the movie, while Malcolm is doing other things, and then whatever he's working on will lead him to them for the third act. And something else I just gotta talk about. During this time, and even before, while production was on hiatus, Sam Neill has been keeping us company on social media, playing some tunes on his ukulele. And let me tell you, you have not lived until you've seen Sam Neill playing a slow ukulele version of Uptown Funk. And recently, on days they've had off, Jeff Goldblum has joined him for a few tunes.
I remember you. Yeah. You're the one that made my dreams come true.
My dreams come true a few
kisses ago.
Yeah, I remember that song.
Yeah, me too.
Kinda interesting that they would do this right around the time that the Grant and Malcolm shipping has started happening, because of this little allegedly accidental moment. Okay, all joking aside, seeing what great friends Sam and Jeff are in real life, it has me supremely excited to see them partake in the kind of chemistry that Jeff has described them having in the movie, and it's really reiterated to me just how much I miss seeing their characters. Now, the last thing I'd like to talk about comes from an interview that Jeff had with People TV. When covering this interview, Jurassic Outpost used the headline, "Jeff Goldblum hints at Jurassic World Dominion script changes due to COVID-19. And this had a few fans flipping out, thinking that this would create drastic deviations from Colin Trevorrow's vision. However, while the headline may sound alarming, here are Jeff Goldblum's exact words.
As it happens, there are things that my character talks about, has always talked about a little bit, about our the fragility of our species, yes, and the global cooperation that's needed, and the foundation in science that is needed, and the ethical use of science that's needed to unite us in trust and connectiveness as a family, and to reach our potential and to do right by ourselves and this glorious planet. All of that. So all of those things are now, as you can imagine, more relevant than ever. And in any other aspects of this plot, there are things we're finding are already kind of apropos, but there's some sensitive things that they're tweaking and adjusting that might make it, right for now, and contributive and nourishing for right now.
Now, Colin Trevorrow had already said on the Comic-Con directors panel that he was a part of with Joseph Kosinski and Robert Rodriguez that the coronavirus forced them to make almost no changes to the script. What it sounds like Jeff Goldblum was talking about is that a few tweaks in the script were made to draw more parallels between the premise of man learning to coexist with dinosaurs and the current state of the world, such as to the emergence of the coronavirus and how we're trying to adjust to it, and perhaps even to the presence of giant Asian hornets in the Pacific Northwest. May the smoke suffocate them all. It's just a question of whether or not these little changes are all that necessary. You don't need to be super on the nose for people to see the relevance. In fact, I had already figured that Jurassic World Dominion would have such timely themes in a rather coincidental way. So that's all I have to talk about. It is excellent to get little hints about how Grant, Sattler, and Malcolm are going to be sharing the screen, and that they seem to be making good time filming in Pinewood and Malta at once. It's really just how they're going about filming in Pinewood that has me at all concerned right now, and I hope that we do get some reassuring information on that soon. So let me know what you think of any of this in the comments, and even if you're not a fan of the two previous Jurassic World movies but are a fan of the first Jurassic Park, you cannot tell me that Jeff Goldblum's description of the OG characters' interaction hasn't given you at least a little twinge of excitement. That's a wrap. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Like and share, subscribe for more. This is Pop Culture. I'm Alex Pop, and I can't wait for Jurassic World Dominion.